What's going on, Internet? Anaris here with another exciting StarCraft 2 broadcast. With me today are our two grand finalists from LastPlayerStanding.com's third SC2 Open. We have spawning as the Teal Zerg in the bottom left-hand position, Czech, who recently left Team Prime, facing off against iSCrazyMoviN of Team Infinity 7. It's the Purple Zerg in the opposing bottom right here today on Tal'Darim Altar. One thing I want to point out, the map is very large, and more importantly, both of the Overlords are heading away from their opponents. So obviously they don't know where they're at, but this could affect the builds that we see today, as not having that early scouting information, not being really generally aware of what their opponents are doing. They're going to be kind of playing blind for the first couple minutes. So we'll see how that turns out, as I would expect to have a good long macro fight. This game, being Tal'Darim Altar, one of the larger maps in the ladder rotation, larger maps in general that's played in League play, it lends itself well to early expansions. You see the natural, we'll use Czech space as an example, is very close, just one little choke point right there leading to it. And then, of course, you have the main ramp leading outwards. One thing I want to point out, though, is that the game progresses. I know I've mentioned this before in Tal'Darim Altar. The third expansion kind of changed the dynamics of the matchup a little bit, in that both expansions for Czech are kind of pressed towards iSCrazyMoviN's base, whereas Crazy's third is actually tucked away nice and secure from Czech's, potential Mutalisk. We've seen him kind of favor that mid-game Muta style of play to counter the roach-heavy builds that iSCrazyMoviN has gone for. Speaking of iSCrazyMoviN, we see he's opting for an expansion first before a pool, before anything else, whereas Czech went for that more conservative play, dropping a gas at 14 supply, spawning pool as well. So we're going to see him get out a few extra Zerglings here a little bit before his opponent. Now the question is, what is he going to do with those? Is he going to be sending them out to scout? Most likely, yes. But is he going to continue to harass? If he's going to go for the mineral line? Could he go for the expansion down here? Is he even going to produce enough to actually commit to an attack like that? The spawning pool up here for just started, so I think by the time those Zerglings actually get out there, if he does even make them, which, I mean, again, most likely will, considering the build, at least a few of them, the Zerglings won't be able to get out there in time to do any serious damage. There's 4 of them on the way, and we do have that speed upgrade continuing on. And I'll notice he's continuing to mine gas. So this is kind of leaving a couple options open for him once he scouts out his opponent. Okay, so I see he's going roaches. Well, good thing I've already got all this gas coming. I can get some of my own. Oh, hey, he's getting banelings. Well, I can get roaches because, well, they never die. So he is getting some banelings right now, and I believe now he has finally located his opponent. Having scouted out in the path of that Overlord there, they kind of crossed the streams for a second, and now Czech is going to be able to just run right on up into this expansion. But what's waiting for him? Well, I mean, you see we've got 2 queens on the way, 6 Zerglings just about finished, and he's just attacking the egg right there. So that's actually a very smart move, is that when that egg popped, he was able to get a surround there on one of the Zerglings. The other one, of course, just kind of hopped out of the little wall in there. But overall, pretty smart play there. So currently sitting at 6-5. Right now, Czech is continuing on. He does have pretty good control of the map, running around about 9-10 Zerglings total. Oh man, several Banelings coming. Will Czech be able to hold on in time to get those Banelings morphed in? There are a couple Zerglings coming over to beat on them. That's a pretty good call by Crazy. Does not want to commit too much to it, although we see now those Zerglings are going to get popped off. Czech is able to defend all the Banelings. They do pop out and are ready to engage. We see he's even turning a couple more of those Zerglings into Banelings as well as he continues to reinforce. You see, that's the thing. He's going for this one base play now. And the fact that he lost his Overlord actually is really bad, because he's really trying to produce a lot of units at this point. That extra 100 minerals that he had to use into an extra Overlord there is going to cut away from potential drones, Zerglings, pretty much whatever. So we're watching iSCrazyMoviN here as he tries to use his queen to absorb a lot of the Baneling shots, manages to pick off one of them. Oh, here comes Czech with his Banelings now getting on the creep, so everything is going to be going just a little bit faster. Speed upgrade completed for both players. Banelings coming in. Will they be able to hit the drones? Oh, man. This is so very close, ladies and gentlemen. He could get a massive hit. Change the course of the game entirely. We see that all the drones are able to get away. Nice. Good cleanup there by Crazy. Taking a look at the income now, though. The most damage was done by those Zerglings themselves. Getting into the mineral line like that, yes, the Banelings definitely contributed. They knocked off some of the weaker drones, but we see now 10-14, and this is really going to hurt iSCrazyMoviN going into this game. Having lost half his drones or so this early, going to have the loss of gas. You see this base is not mining at all. He's got most of his drones here at the natural. Smart move, I think. I mean, you see that the creep is not connected here. The queen is going to be able to run around, also having the spine crawler nice and close. As Czech looks to move in once again, will he be able to get us surrounded? Any more drones? We see one more baneling. Will the spine crawler focus it down? No, he is just continuing to hit the banelings. Oh, or zerglings rather. Manages to hit it just before it explodes. Or runs away. Very exciting matchup so far. Looking at the income now, 11-16. And again, just moving forward, Czech is doing a great job here. You know, he does have a drone ready to drop an expansion, but the whole thing about his plan is that he really wants to punish Crazy for having taken this expansion. He wants to hurt the drone count. He wants to force a lot of larvae to be dumped into zerglings. And of course, now we could see banelings as well, which is pretty much the same level playing field that Czech is on. So he wants to get up an expansion and pretty much defend it. Will he be able to? He is down in the zergling count, but two banelings are on the way right now. They will be able to even the odds. Oh, we see one of them manages to even it quite nicely. I think Crazy just has one more zergling running around now, but Czech has more than enough to deal with this, almost getting us around on additional 2 zerglings, forcing iSCrazyMoviN to retreat back to his home base. We probably won't see Czech continue to be super aggressive beyond what these zerglings are actually going to be doing. He's probably going to run up in here. Yep, he's going to spot that baneling. Is going to be like, okay, Crazy now has the ability to hold off those light harassments. I'm probably just going to work on containment and building up and trying to get my expansion going. As the game moves forward, Czech is going to end up, you know, if he's not careful, he's going to end up being a little bit behind. We see 24-22. As Crazy just has that, you know, he simply has the ability to out-larva his opponent. And you see he's also sitting on quite a large chunk of minerals as we speak, continuing to saturate both the main and the natural. We see Czech's natural has just popped moments ago, and we look down in his base, and he is working on a Roach Warren. So he could actually be going ahead and trying to anticipate Crazy's style of play, which is going for that 2-base roach play. Plus, having those roaches a little bit earlier compared to the previous games will allow him to basically absorb some additional baneling bursts should Crazy decide to go for a counterattack here in the next minute or so. Czech, of course, bringing his Overlord, wants to scout out the drone count, see the gas, see if Crazy is working on any of that, and of course, if he can find out any extra information, that's just gravy on the sausage. But for now, looking at the units tab, we just see 2 roaches compared to nothing up here for Crazy. But notice the zergling count, just 9 of them compared to 12. 29-23 in the workers. As far as APM goes in this 5th and final game, 132-91. There's the army investment for those of you that want to see the actual unit numbers. And as far as workers lost so far, 9-0. Back over to the production tab, we see both players just kicking it in the high gear, getting lots of roaches. We see that Czech is really working on pressing this style of play. He is anticipating an attack over here. He does have an Overlord for spotting the forces moving out, and of course the creep is spreading as well. So he is anticipating an attack very soon. He does not have any Overlords just outside of his base, but look at all the roaches. And of course, the Spine Crawler are going to be able to snipe off some of those banelings if they get too close. We're seeing the engagement go down. A lot of those banelings choosing to go in to attack the roaches because all those zerglings are defeated. You see that Crazy does not have quite a good concave, but he does have fresh zergling reinforcements pressing the roaches back onto the creep, allowing the Spine Crawler to tank a lot of this damage, which is going to work out really well for Czech with a last millisecond transfuse. Czech is able to keep this Spine Crawler alive with 22 hit points. That was a very nice catch indeed. Couple more shots and that would have been taken out. So resources lost now, 3150 to 2524. Back to the production tab, we see that Czech is continuing on with the Zerglings. Zergling Roach is actually a very strong style of play here in the early game. You know, you can use these Zerglings to get a good surround, kind of cup your opponent, reduce his ability to move around, kite away, and get a good concave yourself, and you've got it. So Czech definitely has the right idea, but let's pay attention over here to iSCrazyMoviN. Let's talk about what he could do for a bit here. We see that he is already very comfortable with this roach style of play, so I think this is definitely his zone for the moment. This 2-base, around 13-minute mark, we see he is just pretty much mining mining lightly over here. Definitely going to have to get those drones working a little bit harder. Needs a few more, as Czech is very much droning up as well. We see, I think he just popped out 10 or so. We do come into a slower moment in the game as we see Czech continuing to run around with the Zerglings. I think that Crazy would be well served to possibly work on getting maybe Infestors here at some point, if he can manage to get a third base. You see he's running at around 300 minerals, 150 gas or so. You know, if you look at the actual army size, we see 75 to 83. So he does have a little bit less invested, and that's okay. But he's going toe-to-toe with Czech now, and Czech is going for a strategy that we really haven't seen him go too much for in this tournament series so far. Most of the time, he's opted for that Muta style of play. A little bit on the Roaches, but Muta Ling, a little bit of Bling as well. And, you know, I think that iSCrazyMoviN is not entirely sure how to respond to this, but I mean, I'm sure, you know, he could just pretty much respond typical counters to that. So we're just going to wait and see what he decides to go for. You see that he's really not doing a lot in the way of scouting out the third base. He does spot that. He knows it's there, but he's not working on harassing at all. He's not really dedicating too much time to coming in and checking out what's going on over here. Of course, we can see an evolution chamber. And just continuing on with the Roaches and some Banelings as well. I'm really going to be curious to see if he continues to make more Banelings or if he just decides to stick with very heavy-oriented Roach. What was that? You know, I don't actually know what that was. I did not see it. Just a stray Baneling attacking, I think. So, anyways, yeah, Czech is going to be coming back around here, sees the expansion. He knows, okay, if I can just hold on to this long enough, pump out a few extra units, get it saturated, he's going to be in a great position moving forward. But Crazy, on the other hand, he's got a lot of freaking Roaches, man. Now, Czech is working on a Hydralisk Den to try to get a little bit of extra range support. Hydras, of course, with that +1 range upgrade, bring it to a total of 6. Make it so that way they can fire a little bit easier. Roaches, of course, having only a range of 4. You have to get in a little bit closer. Makes it difficult sometimes to get rid of that a little elusive ball. The Zerglings are actually coming in here trying to delay the attack. We see them going to the mineral line. Oh my god, we're going to see Czech pop off so many drones here. Not even trying to run them. You're going to see so many drones. Oh my god, look at this, man. 32 to 54, watching the workers just drop one at a time. We see 19 to 0 now in terms of workers killed, but iSCrazyMoviN, currently sitting 143 to 149, is going to try to bust up this ramp with all these forces. Again, he's just gone with such a roach-heavy build. Coming up this ramp is going to be suicide for him, so he knows that he's going to try to pop around. Oh, but he fakes him out, decides to come up once again. Once Czech is out of position, will he be able to get a better spot? Now Hydras are in the field, so they're going to be able to shoot at pretty much everything here. No range upgrade just yet, but Weapons 1 is completed for both players. Spinecrawler doing a lot of damage as well. We have 3 of them total firing. So the fact that iSCrazyMoviN is choosing to engage here, it's a little bit of a risky bet. He really was hoping that he'd be able to make more inroads and just out-damage his opponent, but with so many Hydras able to fire from so far away, you see the Spinecrawlers as well. Czech was able to hold. As we approach the 20-minute mark, here comes iSCrazyMoviN once again, this time looking to try to take out this expansion, get a good position, but we see that Czech does have the creep advantage here, able to catch up very quickly and engage. All of the Roaches are going to be going down. I think that iSCrazyMoviN is going to lose all of his army here. He's trying to commit to possibly at least taking out the Queen. Will he do it? No, there's the GG. Czech is able to come forth in game number 5 with an astounding 3-game win streak. Bro, man. Beautiful game from both players. Congratulations to Czech, the lastplayerstanding.com's 3rd SC2 Open grand finalist. He takes home the grand prize. You can find out more information about the tournament, the other matchups, the videos over at lastplayerstanding.com. Of course, my name is Anaris. You're more than welcome to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. That's youtube.com/AnarisStarcraft. And Last Player Standing's YouTube is youtube.com/lastplayerstandingyt. That's going to be it for this tournament, folks. I do hope you enjoyed it. I know I had a blast watching these guys play, and we'll see you in the next video.